Ladies and gentlemen, let us consider a woman who, despite the storms that rage against her, finds the strength to rise after every fall. There is something profoundly beautiful about such resilience, a quiet, unspoken grace that whispers to the very core of what it means to be alive. Now life as we know it is not a straight path. It's a dance 2 steps forward, 1 step back, sometimes spinning wildly out of control. But within the chaos lies an opportunity, a rhythm, if only we learn to feel it. And this woman, this extraordinary soul, is not defeated by the fall. No, she understands something the rest of us often overlook. Falling is not failure, it's simply part of the dance. You see, life is not about avoiding the descent. It's about embracing it. To fall is to be reminded that we are not separate from this world, but deeply woven into its fabric. Every stumble, every heartbreak, every loss is a teacher, revealing to us the raw, untamed beauty of existence. This woman doesn't cling to her pain, nor does she deny it. She feels it fully, lets it move through her like the wind through the trees. And then she does something remarkable. She lets it go. She doesn't ask, why me? She asks what now. She doesn't seek to escape her struggles, but transforms them into stepping stones. Imagine for a moment that each fall is not an end, but a beginning. A chance to shed the weight of expectation of who the world says you should be, and instead rise closer to who you truly are. This woman knows that her scars are not blemishes, but badges of honor, each one telling a story of courage and growth. She rises because she understands that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the willingness to keep going. She rises because she knows that the essence of life is change, and to resist it is to resist life itself. She rises because she has learned to trust the process, to trust herself. And so every fall becomes a kind of surrender to the flow of life, to the understanding that we are all waves in an endless ocean. Sometimes we crash, sometimes we recede, but always we return, stronger, fuller, more alive than before. To rise after every fall is not merely an act of defiance, but of harmony. It's a declaration that says, I am part of this great unfolding. I will stumble, yes, but I will also soar. For every time I fall, I learn. And every time I rise, I remember who I am. So let us celebrate this woman, not because she is invincible, but because she is unshakably human. Let us honor her courage, her grace, and her wisdom. And perhaps in her example we may find the inspiration to rise after our own falls, to meet life not with fear, but with an open heart and an unbreakable spirit. For it is not in never falling that we find our strength, but in rising again and again, like the dawn after the darkest night. Life, in its infinite complexity, is far from a straight path. It is an intricate dance, a symphony of experiences that oscillate between triumph and defeat, joy and sorrow, certainty and doubt. To fall is not an aberration, but an essential part of the rhythm of existence, a reminder that we are human, fragile, evolving, and deeply connected to the ebb and flow of the world around us. Falling, despite its sting, is as natural as breathing and as universal as the sunrise. It is neither the beginning nor the end, but a necessary step in the unfolding of our lives. To stumble is to be brought face to face with the reality of imperfection. Our culture often celebrates achievement and perfection, encouraging us to measure our worth by our ability to succeed without faltering. Yet this perspective overlooks the profound value of the falls we endure. Each fall is a teacher, a mirror reflecting our vulnerabilities, strengths, and the untapped potential within us. It strips away pretense and compels us to confront the raw truth of our humanity. Without these moments of descent, we would never be forced to pause, reflect, and realign ourselves with what truly matters. The fall itself is not the issue, rather, it is our perception of it. Often we see it as a mark of failure, a deviation from the ideal path we had envisioned. But what if we reframed it? What if we saw each fall not as a mistake, but as a stepping stone, a chance to grow? Nature, in all its wisdom, provides us with countless examples of this. A river does not resent the boulders in its path, it flows around them, carving new channels and finding its way forward. Similarly, every time we fall, we are given an opportunity to adapt, to shift, and to forge a new way forward that we might not have considered otherwise. There is also a certain humility in falling, a humbling of the ego that reminds us we are not in control of everything. It is a moment of surrender, a pause that forces us to step back and reassess. In those moments of falling, we are stripped of the illusions we often cling to of being invincible, of knowing it all, of having everything figured out. Falling reminds us that life is not something we conquer, but something we experience. It is a shared journey where unpredictability is the only constant, and resilience is the quiet strength that carries us through. What's remarkable about falling is how it connects us to the broader tapestry of existence. Everyone falls, whether in relationships, careers, health, or personal aspirations. No one is immune to life's challenges, and this shared experience binds us together as humans. It fosters empathy, allowing us to relate to others not from a place of superiority, but from mutual understanding. When we fall, we are reminded that no one has a perfect journey, and this realization creates space for compassion for others and for ourselves. Falling also invites us to embrace impermanence. In the midst of our descent, we may feel that the pain or disappointment will last forever. But life is fluid, ever-changing. Just as seasons shift and the tides ebb and flow, so too do our circumstances. Each fall is temporary, a fleeting moment in the grand timeline of our lives. When we learn to see it this way, we can begin to accept the fall as a transient experience, rather than a defining one. There is beauty in this process if we allow ourselves to see it. When a tree loses its leaves in autumn, it is not dying, it is preparing for renewal. In the same way, our falls often precede moments of profound growth. They are the winters of our souls, urging us to shed what no longer serves us and make space for new beginnings. The act of falling becomes a cleansing, a way to strip away the old and make room for the new. To fall is to live. It is to be an active participant in the unfolding story of life with all its messiness and unpredictability. It is a reminder that we are not static beings but dynamic, ever-evolving creatures capable of learning, adapting, and rising. When we embrace the inevitability of falling, we open ourselves to the full spectrum of life's experiences, the highs and the lows, the joys and the sorrows. In doing so, we discover that the fall itself is not the end of the journey, but an integral and transformative part of it. Resilience is often perceived as a quality that comes from sheer willpower, a steadfast refusal to bend under pressure. However, its true essence lies not in resistance, but in the ability to adapt. It is not the unyielding tree that survives the storm, but the one that sways with the wind. Resilience arises when we embrace change, understanding that life is inherently fluid, and that our ability to flow with it determines our capacity to endure and thrive. Change, by its nature, is unsettling. It disrupts the familiar, challenging our routines, expectations, and sense of control. But in this disruption lies its transformative power. Change forces us out of our comfort zones, compelling us to confront parts of ourselves that would otherwise remain dormant. It strips away the illusions of permanence and stability, revealing life's true nature, a dynamic process in which growth and adaptation are constant companions. Resilience is born not from resisting this truth, but from accepting it fully. When we embrace change, we begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for growth. Every change, no matter how unwelcome or unexpected, carries within it the seeds of possibility. A job loss might lead to a career path more aligned with one's passions. The end of a relationship might open the door to deeper self-awareness and future connections that are more fulfilling. Even the most painful changes, such as illness or loss, can teach us profound lessons about our own strength and the value of life. It is in navigating these transitions that we discover the depths of our resilience. This process of embracing change is not about suppressing our emotions or pretending that hardships don't affect us. On the contrary, resilience demands that we face our feelings head-on. It requires us to acknowledge the fear, sadness, or anger that comes with change, while also choosing not to be defined by those emotions. By allowing ourselves to feel deeply without becoming trapped, we create space for healing and adaptation. This balance between honoring our emotions and moving forward is at the heart of resilience. A key aspect of embracing change is learning to let go. Much of our suffering comes from clinging to what was rather than accepting what is. We hold on to past identities, relationships, or circumstances, often out of fear that letting go will leave us empty. But in truth, letting go is not about losing, it is about making room. Just as a gardener prunes away dead branches to allow new growth, we must release what no longer serves us to make space for what comes next. This act of release is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength, signaling our trust in life's unfolding. Resilience also thrives on flexibility. To embrace change, we must be willing to adapt our perspectives and approaches. Life rarely unfolds according to plan, and rigid expectations can leave us feeling defeated when things don't go as anticipated. Instead, when we adopt a mindset of curiosity and openness, we become better equipped to navigate uncertainty. Each twist and turn becomes an invitation to explore new possibilities, rather than a roadblock to despair. The natural world offers countless lessons in resilience through adaptation. Consider the chameleon, which changes its color to blend into its surroundings, ensuring its survival. Or the river, which carves through mountains over time, not by brute force, but by persistence and adaptability. These examples remind us that resilience is not about overpowering challenges, but about finding harmony with them. By aligning ourselves with the flow of change, we conserve our energy and channel it into growth rather than resistance. Embracing change also fosters a sense of agency. While we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can control how we respond. This shift in focus from external circumstances to internal attitudes empowers us to take ownership of our lives. It transforms change from something that happens to us into something we actively participate in. In this way, resilience becomes a practice, a series of intentional choices that allow us to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and strength. At its core, resilience is a celebration of life's impermanence. It is a recognition that change, though often uncomfortable, is what makes growth possible. Without the shifts and disruptions that challenge us, we would remain stagnant, unable to reach our full potential. By embracing change, we honor the process of becoming, the continual evolution that defines what it means to be human. Through this lens, resilience is not a fixed trait, but a skill we cultivate over time. It is built through each experience, each moment when we choose to face change with courage rather than fear. The more we embrace the fluidity of life, the more resilient we become, and the more we are able to find meaning and beauty in the ever-changing landscape of our existence. There is something undeniably profound about the act of rising. It is a gesture, both physical and symbolic, that speaks to the very essence of the human spirit. Rising is not merely about standing up after a fall, it is about defying the weight of despair, disappointment, or defeat. It is about affirming life, about choosing to continue forward even when the odds seem insurmountable. Rising is a testament to the resilience, courage, and boundless potential within us all. To rise is to confront adversity head-on, acknowledging its presence without allowing it to define us. Life is full of moments that challenge us: losses, failures, heartbreaks, and disappointments. These experiences can feel crushing, as if they might permanently pin us to the ground. And yet, within the depths of such moments, the human spirit has an uncanny ability to find light. Rising does not mean ignoring the pain or pretending it isn't real. Instead, it means carrying that pain with us as we move forward, transforming it into a source of strength. The act of rising reflects the indomitable will to persevere, an inherent quality of the human condition. Throughout history, humanity has faced countless trials, from natural disasters to personal tragedies, and yet time and again people have found a way to rise. This is not simply an individual phenomenon, but a collective one. Rising is woven into the fabric of human existence, a reflection of our shared determination to seek hope, to rebuild, and to strive for something better. What makes rising so extraordinary is that it often happens against the odds. It is not born from perfect circumstances or ideal conditions, but from moments of struggle. In these moments, rising becomes a quiet rebellion, a refusal to be defined by what has gone wrong. It is an act of self-assertion, a declaration that says, I am more than this moment, more than this fall. Rising in this way becomes an act of reclaiming agency, of choosing to be active participants in our own lives rather than passive recipients of circumstance. The human spirit's ability to rise is also deeply tied to its capacity for hope. Hope is not blind optimism or the denial of reality. It is the belief that something better is possible, even when the current situation feels bleak. It is the spark that ignites action. The quiet voice that whispers, try again. Rising is the physical manifestation of this hope, an outward expression of an inner conviction that life, despite its challenges, is worth engaging with fully. In rising, there is also a profound sense of creativity. Each time we get back up, we are not merely returning to where we were before, but forging a new path. Rising requires us to innovate, to think differently, and to approach life with fresh perspectives. It is a process of reimagining what is possible, of finding solutions where none seem to exist. The human spirit thrives on this kind of creativity, turning obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. Rising is not a solitary act. It often draws upon the strength of others. The human spirit is deeply interconnected, and in our moments of need, we lean on those who have risen before us. Their stories inspire us, their support uplifts us, and their presence reminds us that we are not alone. Conversely, when we rise, we become beacons of hope for others. Our courage to stand again can ripple outward, encouraging those around us to do the same. This cycle of mutual support and inspiration is a cornerstone of our shared humanity. There is a kind of grace in rising, a beauty that emerges from the struggle. When we rise, we carry with us the lessons of our falls. We are not the same as we were before. We are more aware, more compassionate, and more grounded. Rising transforms us not by erasing the pain, but by integrating it into our understanding of ourselves and the world. This transformation is what gives the act of rising its profound significance. It is not just about getting back up, but about growing stronger and more attuned to life's complexities. Rising reflects the human spirit's refusal to be defeated. It is a reminder that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Rising is an act of courage, an assertion of our ability to persevere, and a celebration of the resilience that defines us. Each time we rise, we reaffirm our place in the ever-unfolding story of life, demonstrating that no matter how many times we fall, we possess the strength to rise again.